A simple woman named Rachel Carter was savagely humiliated, drenched in soda, and shoved toward the exit of Pinnacle Marketing Solutions in downtown Chicago. Her quiet pleas drowned by the jeers of her cruel colleagues, until her billionaire husband Nathan Pierce arrived to burn their world to the ground. The office, a gleaming cage of glass and steel, erupted in chaos that Friday afternoon as Jessica Hayes, a venomous account manager, hurled a can of Coke at Rachel, soaking her gray cardigan and splattering her desk. "Oops. Thought you needed a bath. Trailer trash." Jessica screeched while Mark Reynolds kicked Rachel's chair, nearly toppling her. Lauren Kim laughed, filming the assault with her phone, shouting, "This is gold. Say bye to your dignity, loser." Rachel stumbled, her stunning face flushed with shame. Yet something in her eyes flickered, a secret so explosive it would soon silence them all. Who was she really? And what power was about to strike? She didn't belong here, or so her colleagues seemed to think. To them, she was an outsider, a nobody who'd somehow stumbled into a high-stakes marketing firm where designer heels and tailored blazers were the unspoken uniform. It started small, as it always did. Jessica Hayes, a sharp-tongued account manager with a penchant for Gucci handbags, leaned over Rachel's desk during the morning meeting and smirked. "Nice sweater, rah. Did you borrow it from your grandma's closet?" A few snickers rippled through the room. Rachel's cheeks flushed, but she forced a small smile and kept her eyes on her notepad. She didn't bother explaining that the cardigan was comfortable, practical, or that she didn't care for flashy clothes. She just wanted to do her job, data analysis, her quiet corner of expertise, and go home. But Jessica wasn't done. By noon, she'd rallied her clique. Mark Reynolds, a cocky sales rep with a gelled-up haircut, and Lauren Kim, a junior designer who lived for Instagram clout. The three of them hovered near Rachel's desk, pretending to discuss a client pitch while tossing barbs her way. "Hey, Rachel," Mark called out loud enough for half the floor to hear. "Did you take the bus again today? I swear I saw someone who looked just like you begging for change outside." Lauren giggled, snapping a quick photo of Rachel's worn-out tote bag and muttering, "Faith thrift store chick." Rachel's fingers paused over her keyboard. She could feel the heat creeping up her neck, but she bit her lip and stayed silent. She wasn't here to fight. She loved her work, crunching numbers, finding patterns, making sense of chaos. It was why she'd taken this job in the first place. Despite knowing she didn't fit the polished, cut-throat vibe of Pinnacle, she didn't need their approval, she told herself. She just needed to get through the day. The bullying had been going on for months, ever since she'd started 6 weeks after college. At first, it was subtle. Eye rolls when she brought homemade lunches, whispers about her cheap clothes. But lately, it had escalated. Last week, Jessica had accidentally spilled coffee on Rachel's desk, ruining a stack of papers she'd spent hours organizing. Mark had laughed and said, "Oops, guess you'll have to start over, Cinderella." Lauren had posted a cryptic tweet that night. "Some people don't know their place, our office life." Rachel knew it was about her. She'd seen the likes piling up from other co-workers. Today, though, was different. It was worse. The trio had been planning something all week, their whispers and sidelong glances growing bolder. By mid-afternoon, they struck. Jessica sauntered over with a stack of folders and dumped them on Rachel's desk with a loud thud. "Here's some busy work for you," she said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "We've got a big presentation tomorrow, and you're clearly not doing anything important." Rachel glanced at the files. Random printouts, outdated spreadsheets, nothing urgent. It was a power play, pure and simple. "I've got my own deadlines," Rachel said softly, pushing the folders aside. Her voice was steady, but inside her stomach turned. She hated confrontation, hated the way they twisted her words. Jessica's eyes narrowed. "Oh, come on. Don't act like you're too good for it. We all know you're just here to fill a seat. What's your deal anyway? No friends, no style. No backbone. Did you even go to college, or did they just feel sorry for you?" Mark chimed in, leaning against a nearby cubicle. "Yeah. Seriously, Rachel. You're like the office charity case. Bet you live in some dingy basement with 5 roommates." The laughter spread. A few other heads popping up from their desks to watch the show. Rachel's hands trembled slightly, but she clasped them together under her desk. She wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing her crack. Lauren pulled out her phone again, this time recording a quick video. "Say hi to my followers, Rachel. They're dying to know what it's like to work with someone who shops at the dollar store." She zoomed in on Rachel's flats, cackling as she posted it with a caption Rachel didn't need to see to guess. The room felt smaller, the air thicker. Rachel's heart pounded, but she kept her face blank, her gorgeous hazel eyes fixed on her screen. She was stunning, high cheekbones, a cascade of dark hair she kept in a simple ponytail, but she downplayed it all with her plain outfits and quiet demeanor. She didn't want the spotlight. She didn't need it. Her beauty was for her, not them. Then came the final blow. Brian Foster, the team lead, strolled by, a smug grin on his face. He'd never liked Rachel either. She was too competent, too unassuming, a threat to his fragile ego. "Hey, Carter," he barked. "If you're not pulling your weight, maybe you should just clock out early. We don't need Deadwood dragging us down." He tossed a crumpled, sticky note at her desk, with "Clean up your act" scrawled on it. The others erupted in laughter, Jessica clapping like it was the punchline of the year. Rachel stood, her movement slow and deliberate. "I'll finish my work," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I always do." She grabbed her bag and headed for the break room, needing a moment to breathe. Behind her, she heard Mark call out, "Yeah, go cry somewhere else, princess." The words stung, but she kept walking, her head high. In the break room, she leaned against the counter, gripping her phone. Her hands shook as she scrolled to Nathan's number. She didn't want to bother him. He was always busy running Pierce Enterprises, a sprawling conglomerate that dominated everything from tech to real estate. Nathan Pierce was a name everyone in Chicago knew. A self-made billionaire, chairman of the board at Pinnacle's parent company, and one of the most powerful men in the Midwest. But to Rachel, he was just Nate, her husband of 3 years. The man who'd proposed to her in a quiet park with a ring he'd designed himself. She'd never told anyone at work about him, not out of shame, but humility. She wanted to earn her place, not ride his coattails. They'd met in college before his empire took off, when he was just a driven guy with big dreams. And she was a shy math major who tutored him through statistics. Their wedding had been small, private, attended only by family and a few friends. She still wore her maiden name at work to keep things simple. Nathan respected her choice, even if he sometimes teased her about being too stubborn for her own good. Now, though, she needed him, not for revenge, but for strength. She dialed his number, her thumb hesitating over the call button. He picked up instantly. "Are you okay?" His voice was deep, warm, a lifeline in the storm. "Not really," she admitted, her throat tight. "It's been a bad day. They're awful, Nate. I don't know how much more I can take." "Where are you?" he asked. his tone shifting to something harder. Protective at the office. Pinnacle, I'm 10 minutes away. Don't move. He hung up before she could protest. Rachel returned to her desk, bracing herself for more taunts. Jessica was waiting, arms crossed. Back already? Thought you'd quit by now. Mark and Lauren lingered nearby, smirking. Brian watched from his glass-walled office, clearly enjoying the spectacle. Rachel sat down, saying nothing, her eyes on her screen. She could feel the tension building, a storm about to break. 9 minutes later, the elevator dinned. The office fell silent as Nathan Pierce stepped out, all 6'2" of him radiating quiet fury. He wore a charcoal suit that screamed money. His dark hair swept back, his jaw set. Heads turned. Whispers started. Jessica's jaw dropped, her eyes darting between Nathan and Rachel. Mark froze mid-sentence. Lauren's phone slipped from her hand, clattering to the floor. Nathan didn't glance at anyone else. He walked straight to Rachel's desk, his presence commanding the room. "Rachel," he said, his voice low, but carrying. "You ready to go?" She looked up, relief washing over her. "Yeah, just need a minute." She started gathering her things, her movements calm despite the chaos erupting around her. Jessica recovered first, plastering on a fake smile. "Mr. Pierce. Hi, I'm Jessica Hayes, account manager. We weren't expecting you today. Can I get you anything?" She fluttered her lashes, oblivious to the danger. Nathan ignored her, his eyes on Rachel. Then he turned, scanning the room. "Who's been giving my wife a hard time?" The word wife hit like a thunderclap. Jessica's smile vanished. Mark choked on his own spit. Lauren polled, her phone forgotten. Brian stumbled out of his office, adjusting his tie, his face a mask of panic. "Your wife." Jessica stammered, glancing at Rachel's plain cardigan as if it were a riddle she couldn't solve. "Yes," Nathan said, his voice cold still steel. "Rachel Pierce, my wife. I hear she's been treated like garbage here. Care to explain?" The room was a graveyard of silence. Rachel stood beside him, her beauty undeniable now that everyone was looking. Really looking. She didn't gloat, didn't smirk. She just waited, her dignity unshaken. Brian stepped forward, sweating. "Mr. Pierce." "Sir, I'm sure it's a misunderstanding. Rachel's a valued team member." "Valued?" Nathan cut him off. "She's been mocked, insulted, and buried in busy work by people who think she's beneath them. That sound like value to you?" Jessica tried to backpedal. "We didn't know. I mean, she never said, 'Does she have to?'" Nathan snapped. "She's here to work, not flaunt our marriage. But you judged her anyway. You assumed she's nothing because she doesn't strut around in Prada. That's on you." Mark opened his mouth, then shut it. Lauren stared at the floor, her influencer dreams crumbling. Brian wiped his brow, muttering apologies that fell flat. Nathan turned to Rachel. "You want to stay here or are we done?" She met me his gaze, her voice soft but firm. "I'm done." "Good." He faced the room again. "Here's what's happening. Jessica Hayes, Mark Reynolds, Lauren Kim, Brian Foster, you're fired. Effective immediately. Security's on their way up to escort you out. And don't bother applying anywhere else in this city. My name carries weight, and I'll make sure every HR department knows exactly why you're out of a job." Jessica gasped, clutching her desk. "You can't do that." "I own the board that owns this company," Nathan said, his tone final. "I can do whatever I damn well please." Brian tried to plead. "Sir, I've been here 5 years. Sis, and you let this happen under your watch." Nathan shot back. "You're done." Jessica's face twisted into a snarl as she lunged toward Rachel's desk, slamming her hands down so hard the coffee mug rattled. "You think you're better than us now, huh? Hiding behind your rich husband like a coward. We all knew you were a fraud." showing up in those ratty clothes, pretending to work hard while we carried this place." Her voice rose to a shriek, spit flying as she ranted. "I bet you laughed behind our backs every time we made fun of your pathetic little life." Mark joined in, his eyes wild with desperation. "Yeah, she's a snake. Probably slept her way into that marriage." The accusations hung in the air, vicious and unhinged, as the office watched in horror. Rachel stood still, her beauty stark against their ugliness. But the sting of their lies cut deeper than ever. Nathan stepped forward, his presence a wall of unshakable calm, and raised a single hand to silence the room. "Enough. You don't get to rewrite the story because you're scared. My wife didn't need to prove anything to you. She's brilliant, kind, and worth more than every soul in this building combined. You mocked her for months, thinking she was weak. But look at her now, standing tall while you crumble." He turned to Rachel, his voice softening with pride. "You don't have to say a word, love. They're done." Rachel met his gaze, her hazel eyes gleaming, and gave a small, unshaken nod. The guards moved in like shadows, dragging the screaming quartet away as Nathan's words echoed. "You'll never work again. Not here. Not anywhere." That's the price of crossing her. The elevator dinged again and 2 security guards stepped out, their faces blank. Jessica started crying. Mark cursed under his breath. Lauren scrambled to grab her things and Brian just stood there defeated. The rest of the office watched in stunned silence as the 4 were marched out, their careers in ashes. Nathan took Rachel's hand, his touch gentle despite the storm he'd unleashed. "Let's go home," he said. She nodded, grabbing her tote bag. As they walked to the elevator, she glanced back once, not at her tormentors, but at the co-workers who'd stayed silent. Her eyes held no anger, just a quiet strength that lingered long after the doors closed. The office buzzed for weeks after. Stories spread about the simple woman who'd turned out to be married to Nathan Pierce, the billionaire who'd built Pierce Enterprises from nothing into a titan of industry. Jessica tried to salvage her reputation with a terry LinkedIn post, but no one bought it. Mark bounced between dead-end gigs, his swagger gone. Lauren deleted her social media, her followers abandoning her. Brian disappeared from the industry entirely, a ghost of his former self. Rachel didn't return to Pinnacle. She didn't need to. She started freelancing, using her skills to help small businesses grow, all while staying true to her unassuming roots. Nathan stood by her, proud of the woman who'd never let the world change her. One Friday evening, as they sat on their penthouse balcony overlooking the Chicago skyline, Rachel leaned against him, her cardigan swapped for a cozy sweater. "You didn't have to destroy them," she said, her voice soft. "They destroyed themselves." Nathan replied, kissing her forehead. "I just made sure they felt it," she smiled, her hazel eyes catching the city lights. She'd faced the worst of people and come out stronger, not because of his wealth, but because of who she was. And that was enough. Hey, if you enjoyed this story, hit that like button, share it with your friends, drop a comment below, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more tales of justice and heart. Thanks for listening.